Paul left you with, really, after taking him on?
Probably a wrecked liver. Fun socialising. I've played. I think I've played real people. I'm going to say 4 times, but never one still with us. And boy, is he still with us. I mean, he's such a vital, omnipresent person, I feel like, in my life now. And, you know, it's just incredible to go on this journey with him by my side and with him by Rosa's side. I mean, he was totally invaluable to the making of this project, and to have his support above everything else was just huge to us right from the start, to have his support. You know, and then just his presence and energy on set, and his knowledge, and being able to tap into what was going through their minds in these you know, critical moments that we're trying to depict. You don't get that every day on a film set, you know. I was so lucky, and he also brings a great humour and levity, he brought that to his work. Him and Marie had a brilliant relationship that was very much bound by the need to find the truth and by humour, and he brought that onto set with him, which was again just so, you know, necessary, I think, when you're depicting something that's so heavy.
You might care to react to.
We certainly would, yeah. It's we're jubilant and kind of astonished and sort of left reeling a bit.
And Paul Conroy himself just told us, took us in before we started doing these interviews to tell us, so it's been
it's emotional and
very hard to not think of it at the moment, to be honest.
What do you think it means, really, for the families?
It means, and it certainly means something. It means something huge for Marie's family, but it also means, which Paul has been, you know, very vocal on in the Q&As that we've done with him, is that, you know, it's a real setback to the rehabilitation of Assad on the international stage. You know, this is a declaration and a verdict on the deliberate targeting of free speech and journalists, and the targeting of the media centre, and the murder of journalists, not just Marie, but it's huge. I mean, it's, you know, we've seen it with Paul. It was incredibly emotional, Paul just telling us just now. It's what he's been fighting for with such resilience, I think, since he escaped from Homs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What Marie would make of the era of fake news, because unfortunately she died really before it was upon us. But you must have probably thought about what a truth seeker like her would make of this era that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Marie was always, you know, she had her true north, which was, you know, she would seek out her truth, and she didn't care however powerful anyone was, she would speak the truth to that power as she saw it. You know, whether it was famously calling out the Assad regime as liars when she was in Homs just before she died. No, I think Marie wrote for a Sunday paper. She's the complete opposite of the sort of sensationalist headline and kind of fakery. It's sort of in-depth, solid reporting where she had time to embed with people and get a deeper story. I mean, she couldn't really be further from the world of fake news. But it means that our film is coming out at a kind of very opportune moment, I think.
For you, why was it so important for you to play her?
I don't know, sometimes you just have a kind of deep instinct about somebody and a connection with them. And it's curious because there's not, you know, very much that we have in common. But, you know, I had this sort of, I don't know, a kind of, a deep instinct that I understood something fundamental about this woman. And that you kind of can't ignore. You don't ignore it. And I met Matthew Heineman after a screening of his documentary, and I ended up writing him this kind of spew out of all my thoughts, and he sent it back to me just before we opened in America, and I read it and I said, what's this? Who wrote this? And I had absolutely no recollection of writing it, and I had to go into my computer and I found it, and I clearly did write it, but it was almost like a kind of, I don't know, something, I don't know what it was, but I had no real connection with it, but it was sort of fierce and fundamental, and so I don't know. It was like a kind of. I'm trying to avoid the word calling because that clearly is not the right one. But I'm trying to find a substitute that. Anyway, it was. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was the beginning of a deep relationship with someone I will never meet, and that is a very odd thing to have experienced because I feel like I have got to know someone very intimately who I can never meet, and I've never had an experience quite like it.